here to bring you another yoga practice. My name is Sarah Brulard, and I am glad to have you here in my home, in our playroom slash schoolroom at the moment. So I want to just jump right into it today. We're gonna get our heart rate going a bit. So to start, let's come down onto our back, and we're gonna bring our knees to our chest and just grab right below those knees, maybe at those shins, and really tuck them in, get nice and tight, and then just find a relaxed space for them. Take a breath in, take a breath out. Maybe start to rock side to side just a little bit. Just move, feel your shoulders stretch, your back. Good. And then separate those knees. Turn to the side just a little bit so you can see me. So separate those knees and then lift up the feet. Grab those toes either with your peace fingers or grab at the ankles, just around the ankles. Whatever allows you. I'm going to turn so you can kind of see. My elbow is on the inside, and so we want to be pressing against those knees with our elbows. So if I don't want to see like people, and then our legs are out, not tucked in. So really pull those out. Breathe here. Pull your shoulders down and back. You might add some movement to this happy baby. We're just warming up. Maybe take the time to set an intention at this point in your happy baby. Maybe just create a breath prayer. Breathe in love or patience, and exhale anxiety. I feel like we all might have that right now. Exhale frustration. Exhale expectations. So just find that breath, find that happy baby, find that happy place for you. And then we're going to, from there, bring your feet down, plant your feet on the ground, knees are bent, bring your arms down by your side, turn those shoulders really into that mat, and then I want you to raise up nice and easy into our bridge pose. So we're going to notice that I'm not arching, I'm keeping a nice line. So find a nice line for you. Pull the shoulders back, pull the head back into the mat. Breathe. Breathe that intention, that breath prayer. Just say it over and over. And then slowly lower down. Bring your feet together and come into butterfly pose. Maybe turn your palms upward and receive. All right, come back into that bridge pose. Press those palms down, lift the hips, come into that bridge. So we're warming up our core, warming up our body while finding stillness and keeping that breath for the moment. So really finding that nice breath. If you want to warm up even more, use an Ujjayi breath, meaning close your mouth and breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. I don't know if you can hear that, but I have a slight rumbling, almost like a wave crashing, or Darth Vader is normally how people describe it. That creates an even further warming of the breath. Bring those hips down, come back into that butterfly pose. One more time. Plant those feet, plant the hands, the palms down, and come up into your bridge. Maybe you leave your bridge here, or maybe just for one last bridge, you take those hands and bring it to the small of your back and create a little support. You come more into an arch, but you also come into almost like a little restorative element. It's just a different stretch. Then slowly lower down, come back into that butterfly pose. Bring your knees together and bring them in and start to create a little rock and roll. Really start to roll that back all along the mat. Do as many rolls as you want, if this feels fun for you, or as few as you want. And we're gonna roll all the way forward into a seated into tabletop. I probably just rolled right out of your view. All right, so we're coming into a tabletop pose. And we're going to sink the belly, raise the head, and come into our cow pose. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. One more time. And cow. Hold the cow, don't hold the breath. Really arch into that back. Press those hands down, pull the shoulders open. And release. Come into one last cow. Really sink those hips down. Again, we're gonna hold the pose. Don't hold the breath. So lift that head up, pull the shoulders back. Feel that arch. Good. Now come to neutral, tuck those toes, lift your knees off the ground just 1 inch. Hold here. Oh yeah, getting warmed up. Now rock back, straighten the legs, rock those hips high, come into your down dog. Good, press those shoulders back. You might pedal your legs in this down dog to start. And then I want you to lift your heels, so come up on the tiptoes, and then take those heels and drop them to the left side. And they're kind of on like a blade, if you can see my feet. And push back into that down dog. Feel kind of a side stretch in your legs. And then raise those heels up. Again, come back to center and go to the other side, the right. Oh, that feels good. Come back to center. And bring your knees down, come into child's pose. Take a breath here. Rock forward, come into plank. Hold this plank, and then I want you to push up, but come right back up. We're not going into up dog just yet, and rock back into down dog. Come forward, plank, push up, and right back into down dog. Woo! We're gonna do one more. Come to that plank. Notice my elbows. We're not, a lot of times if you've been watching all those push-up challenges, you see lots of, especially women, come out here to the side. This is how we do a push-up. What I want you to strive for, and it's not easy, but is really bringing those hands in and creating the L this way rather than this way. So we come into that pose and we lower down over those arms and then up and into down dog. Good. All right, come into that down dog. One last time, come to plank, lower down, and this time come into up dog. Lift the head high. Now shrug the shoulders and lift up out of them. Good. And send the hips back, knees down, come into child's pose. Walk the hands over to the left. Really feel that side body stretch. Walk the hands to center. And walk the hands to the right.
Mommy, can you show me how to do that?
Yeah, I'll show you after I'm done, okay?
Mommy.
The reality of our practice sometimes it gets interrupted. All right, so we just finished walking over to the side and walk to center. Good. And plant those hands and come back into a down dog. Walk your hands back into a forward fold. So you're at the back of your mat in a forward fold. Bend your knees just a bit. Get deep in that forward fold. Maybe pull on the backs of your legs. Inhale, come into a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. And come to mountain center. Come to the front of your mat. And we're going to do 3 sun A's to get us really warmed up. So here we go. Inhale, come up high. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Plant the hands, chaturanga. Down dog. Step or float to your hands. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Fold. Rise up. And again. Fold. Halfway lift. Plant the hands, chaturanga. Down dog. Feet to hands. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Rise up. One more time. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Plant the hands, step it back. Lower down. Come up. And down dog. Hold this down dog. Or come into child's pose. I don't ever put music on while I'm doing these, which I hate because I love music. But I do have playlists that you can follow on Spotify. And I encourage you that if you're, especially if you're on your computer, put Spotify on. You can turn on the music and have my voice over it. And that way you can enjoy it. But it just gets muddled if I try to do it on the video. So I encourage you to do that if you haven't yet. Breathe. Take your break. If you're in your down dog, or if you're not, get in back into down dog. Take your right leg, kick it high. Bend the knee and then make some really big circles. Like really big. Feel the stretch. Good. Now come straight. Come up on your tiptoes of your left leg. Tuck that right leg into your chest, bringing your body forward and stepping it down. We're trying to keep as much lift underneath there. Let me show that one more time. So we're in our down dog. We've got our foot leg high. Lift the heel, tuck it in. That allows us to come forward and step it down. Good. Come into your lower lunge. Raise up, crescent. So crescent, we're on the ball of our foot in the back, leg straight forward. And then bring your left hand down, right hand high, twist. Take that right hand, it's straight up now, bring it forward. Feel a side body stretch right here. Good. Bring it down and vinyasa through. Step back, chaturanga, up dog, down dog. Come, stay in that down dog. Walk your hands back to the back of the mat. Bend the knees, come into chair. Good. Hold the chair. Breathe here. Come back to that breath prayer. We're going to find stillness in this movement heavy flow and stand up all the way. Raise your arms up high. Lean back and fold over. Good. Walk your hands forward. Come into down dog. Come into plank. Plant your left hand, rock open to the right side. Come into side plank. Take that hand that's reaching up overhead and pull it forward. And back to center plank. Opposite side, right hand plants open up to the left. Raise that arm up high. And then reach it forward. Come back to center plank. Now before we move into that other side, don't worry, I haven't forgotten about it. I want us to do 5 push-ups. So you can either, I want you to really work on that elbow where you have those arms. So either come down on your knees so that you can do them appropriately. 1, 2, or if you can go all the way, feel free to come up high. 3, 4, 5, oh my goodness, and push back into down dog. Now we're headed to the other side. Left leg, kick it high. Bend the knee and really make those big circles. Good. Kick that leg up really high. Come up on the toes of your right foot, like you have 2 right feet. And bring that leg in, sweep it forward, come into your low lunge. You might move a little bit in that low lunge. Good. Raise up, crescent. Good. Get up on the top of that back foot. And bring your right hand down, left hand high. Take that hand, reach it forward. Get a little bit of that side stretch. And bring it down. Vinyasa through, step back. Down dog. Up dog. And down dog. Okay, so here. This is your rest, so if you need to come into child's pose, come into child's pose. Right leg, kick it high. Bend the knee and bring it to your right elbow. Crunch it in. Lift it high. Crunch it in. Lift it high. Crunch it in. Lift it high. And this time come up on the tiptoes. Bring that knee all the way into the chest and bring it forward. Low lunge. This time in your low lunge, before we rise up, I want you to rock bent leg, straight leg. Just a little stretch here. Good. Raise up, crescent. Good. Pull those shoulders down. Open up, warrior two. Get nice and low in that warrior two. Reverse. Oh yeah, feel that side body. And come forward into extended side angle. You can start here, or if you want to come all the way down, we're going to be here for 5-6 breaths. Maybe for 3 of those, you really extend and reach open. Bring, for 2 breaths, come and bring it forward. And then for 1 breath, bring it around and bind it. Take that gaze up. Release. And bring that hand down and step it back. Vinyasa. Up dog. And down dog. So in this down dog, we're going to take a couple breaths here. Widen the stance of your down dog. But, widen it like hip wide. But bring it in a little bit. So it's a little bit closer. Your heels may be a little bit more pressed to the ground. Take your left hand and reach for that right ankle or right shin and pull through just a bit. Release. And to the other side. Release. Good. Excellent. Hold here for just a moment. Maybe heel to those feet back together a little bit. And left leg, kick it high. Bend and crunch it. Extend. Crunch. Good. Extend. Crunch. One more time. Extend. This time come up onto that tiptoe of your right foot. Bring that knee into the chest. Bring it forward. Come into that lunge. Good. Now, rock. Straighten that leg. Bend it. Just a little rock. Just loosen up. Say hi to the hamstring. Good. And one more. Raise up. Crescent. Good. Open up, warrior two. Breathe here. Reverse. And come forward, extended side angle. Maybe start here. Then bring it down if you want. Maybe take that arm forward if you'd like. And then take arms behind your back. come into the bind. Good. And release. Come forward, step it back. Chaturanga, up dog, and down dog. Take your right leg, kick it high, and sweep it forward into that lunge. But this time I want you to straighten that leg out and turn your body into open A in the side of your mat. You might open up a little bit wider if you want. Fold over that open A here. Let me come into a more open space so that y'all can see what we're going to be doing. All right, so we're in this open A. Just hang for a moment. Then take your hands and you're gonna walk them out like you're in a down dog position. So we're gonna reach, we're gonna allow our hips, you may have seen I adjusted there, come forward just a bit. You might be a little bit on the balls of your toes. Take your right hand and you're gonna see if you can bend that elbow just a bit, not all the way to the ground, or it might be all the way to the ground, and take your right hand underneath. Kind of twist it there. Lift up out of that, see if you can really twist and grab that leg. So come underneath the arm now. Release. Come back to that center stance. Bend that right elbow just a bit. Take that left hand, bring it underneath. Raise up just a bit. Reach for that opposite leg. Pull through. Good. Release. Walk back into more of that traditional open A fold. And then keeping your hands kind of touching the ground, raise up into flat back. Plant your left hand down, right hand comes high, twist. Take that right hand, bind it behind your back if you want. Really open up that shoulder. And release, come all the way around. Plant to the right hand, lift the left hand high. Really twist that body. And take the bind behind. Good. Release. And walk your hands forward. Come into left leg's front into a lunge. Or you might be right leg. Let's switch to left leg because that's where we're going to go. So come into, actually we're going to plant our hands and we're going to step back. No matter where you are, left hand, left foot, right foot, wherever you are, come into down dog. Lift your right leg. Bring it in to crunch. Extend it out. Bend it high, open up, and flip your dog. So let that leg just fall gently over. Come around. Now I don't normally do this, but we'll try something new. Take that top hand, grab kind of behind the skull, and then let your skull kind of lean back into it. Lift the hips high. Pull that elbow back. Good. Release. And come all the way back around into your three-legged dog. Sweep that leg forward. Come into low lunge. We're going to bring the knee down. Raise up. Bring your hands to that front knee, that right knee. Really pull into that stretch. Then slowly rock that foot back or that hip back and come into half split. Walk forward. Bring your hands onto the inside and walk your hands, let me back up just a little bit, walk your hands down into lizard. Even if you can lift that leg and come into more intensity, we're trying to cool it down just a bit. So keep that knee down on the ground. Good. Now staying in this lizard pose, see if you can take this knee, open it up. You might even turn it so that it's at like 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock I mean, and come onto that knife edge. Walk those hands up, plant the left hand, reach around with the right hand, if you can see what I'm doing. So I've got this really far out, got this hand planted, and we're reaching for that back leg. And then once we get there, we're gonna open up. So we're letting that knee fall, we're letting the shoulder, this top shoulder, come back. Good, unwind. And let this leg come all the way across into half pigeon. Come up nice and tall and fold over. This is a great place to pause this video and just listen to music and let your body sit here for 2-3 minutes. I'm gonna keep moving after we rest for maybe 30 seconds to a minute, but I really encourage you to try that out because this is such a good position for opening up the hip, which we all need. Slowly raise up. Good. Plant those hands, raise up, bring that foot back. You might even need to take that right leg and just move it around a little bit. Once you've done that, plant it down and raise your left foot high. Crunch it in. Raise it high. Bend the knee high, open up and flip your dog if you want to. Bring that leg all the way around. Once it lands, you're gonna straighten the right leg. Lift the hips. Take that hand, bring it to the back of your skull and really pull, or rest back in it, don't pull. Good. Now sweep all the way around. Come into three-legged dog. Sweep that leg forward. Come into low lunge. Good. Take the knee down. Raise up, modified crescent. And bring those hands to the knee. Good. Now, send that hip back. Now walk forward, bring that hand onto the inside and start to walk your hands down into pigeon. Sorry, into lizard. All right, now allow that foot to come out to kind of the 2 o'clock or 10 if you're doing opposite of me. And come onto the knife edge of that foot. You can raise up slowly, and then we're reaching around for that back foot. We're letting this knee fall. We're opening up that shoulder, looking back, creating as much space, sinking those hips. And release. Good. Take that foot, walk it all the way across, and come into half pigeon. Come back to that breath prayer, whatever word you came to at the beginning, or maybe as you've moved through, a new word has popped into your head. Our word in our family right now, I told them our word of the week was perseverance. So that's what we're doing. That's the word on my mind. Breathe here. Again, don't be afraid to pause me and hold this pigeon a little bit longer. Maybe find a favorite song and let it, songs are about, a lot of them, 3-4 minutes. Allow you to sit in that pose for 3 to 4 minutes. Plant your hands, lift back into down dog. Maybe wiggle that leg out. Make sure it's loosened up. Bring your knees down. We're coming into kneeling into camel pose. So we're going to come up high in our kneeling pose. And come to the side. We're going to take our hands behind our back and press forward and up. So we're pressing this not just back, but up into our camel pose. You can stay here, or if you want to take it further, see if you can find those feet and pull back, camel pose. Raise up, and then it's a little bit of a head rush. Come into child's pose. If another pose you can try that I think is really nice is rabbit pose. So you can come into just a traditional child's pose, or you can bring those hips up just a little bit, come more to the top of your head, and bring your arms around and pull them back. This is rabbit pose. Sit back, raise up, one more camel. Come up into camel. Take your hands, either bring them to the small of your back and use that, and just stay here. Or once you get there, see if you can find your feet. Come up, take a moment, don't get the head rush. Come down into rabbit or child's pose. Either stay here in rabbit or child's pose, or if you would like to head into a headstand, we're going to stay, and so if that's in your practice, you can do that. If it's not, if you've been working on it and you can do it against a wall, I encourage you to do that. But if it's not in your practice, I want you to be very careful and not hurt yourself. So you can bring your hands interlaced into the back of your head, raise up. You might even just stay here in basically dolphin pose. Let me turn to the side so you can kind of see. Or if you do have it in your practice, you can come up into headstand and stay here for 4 or 5 breaths. Come back to your intention in your breath here. Find those words here while you're balancing. Gently come down into child's pose. Or if you're you're already there, stay there. Good. Raise up into a low kneeling and take your hands behind, kind of come off to one side, swing those legs around. We are coming into knees to chest. We have one more inversion and then we're gonna just relax. So come down onto the mat and bring your hands strong into the mat, and you can raise up into a legs up a wall or waterfall pose. Or if you would like, you can come into a shoulder stand, coming up. We're not staying in shoulder stand for long, we're headed into plow. So even if maybe shoulder stand isn't your strongest, if you do have plow in your practice, you can start to head there. So we come up into our shoulder stand, get nice and tall, really press the back of our head back so that it creates as much space in the throat as possible. And then start to bring those toes over, nice and gentle. Keep the hands on the back to keep support until you get to your farthest point, which might be the ground or it might not be. But then you can release your hands and come into plow. Breathe here. And that's my dog that has totally walked into your camera. I'm sorry. Or into your spot. All right, we're just gonna ignore her. So stay in that plow, and then slowly, one vertebrae at a time, start to release down onto your back as you feel ready. Take your time. Once you come all the way back into Shavasana, take your right leg and tuck it in into knee to chest. And then grab that knee with opposite hand. Take your left hand out. I don't know what leg I said was over, but this is my left leg. So we'll say left hand, left leg is bent, left hand's out, right hand's holding on, and just come into a twist. Take that gaze over to the left side. Relax that leg over as much as you can. Come back to center. Or pause me and hold it longer. Switch legs. Tuck that knee in. And then take your left hand to that right knee and bring your right hand out to the side. Let it come all the way over. Come back to center. Bring both knees to chest. Maybe roll your knees around, creating figure eights or circles. Just letting that back loose. And then rock and roll, nice and gentle. Roll the back, nice and easy. And come up into seated. Good. Take your hands up overhead. And bring them down. Exhale loudly out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Come up and come over to the left side. Come up and come over to the right side. Come up and bring your hands to prayer center. Close your eyes. Breathe in. Lord, bring me peace. Lord, take away my anxiety. Lord, bring me love. Take away my frustration. thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this practice. Have a good millionth day of March. Actually, it's April. Happy April Fools. It's not March anymore. Yay.